So I have to talk about the disparity between it. At this point, Donald Trump is kind of on a roll. Things are going pretty well. The tariff thing, obviously, a lot of conservatives not happy about it. But so far, it looks like a kind of negotiating technique. Today, he revealed, he released the White House plan for guns, and there was nothing about confiscating weapons. There was some study group looking in maybe raising the age for guns, but basically it was making schools safer by making schools safer and letting people training teachers to carry and all the things that we think might actually help. So he's really doing well, and obviously the press has stooped from, oh my gosh, Russia is running America, to, oh my gosh, Donald Trump slept with a porn star. And again, is there anybody who didn't know that Donald Trump was doing stuff like that? I mean, even Melania, when Charles Blow says Melania knew, then what business is it of yours if she knew? If she knew, what difference does it make? Anyway, but the one thing I do want to say is there's still a lot of people on the right who don't like Donald Trump and have reservations about him. And one of the things about Trump is, Sebastian Gorka, who is a big Trump supporter and very eloquent about it, says he's got great instincts. He's got great instincts. And that is the thing about Trump. He's not a man of ideas. And I keep saying, when people say he's playing chess, I always say, no, he's like a running back. He senses where the daylight is and he senses where to go. That's why he frequently opens his mouth and says things and then has to take them back, because he's playing with instinct. And there is indeed a danger with going after a man of instincts and not ideas, in that you're essentially following the man himself. And that is everything that a republic is not supposed to be. We're not supposed to follow people. We're supposed to follow laws. We're supposed to follow ideas. That is the way it's supposed to be. Obviously, we want good men in there to operate and put those ideas into motion. But when you follow a guy of instinct, that's why I asked the question the other week when I asked you, what would it take for you to dump Donald Trump? I mean, apart, I just wanted to make sure that there was something that he could violate, some principle that he could violate. When I voted for Trump, I voted for his instincts, because Hillary Clinton is a person of ideas, but her ideas were so bad and so damaging, and she herself was so corrupt, that I thought this could seriously, after 8 years of Barack Obama's radical leftism, this could seriously end the American experiment. We could wind up like Europe. And the thing you have to understand about Europe is dead, and you don't want to wind up dead. One of the good things about being a country, one of the most important things about being a country, is don't be dead. That is, I think we could say that's a basic rule. However, while it is true that I feel with Trump we have to sort of trust him in ways that I'm not that comfortable with myself, to think that we on the right are the first people to follow a person instead of ideas, I just have to read you these are two things, very brief. Here is a piece that was published on CNN's site from Julian Salizer, a history and public affairs professor at Princeton University. This was once one of the greatest universities in the world, right? And here is a history professor at Princeton University, and he edited a book called The Presidency of Barack Obama, A First Historical Assessment. And he says, this is what he says, his historical assessment of Obama is that Obama could never accept about American politics how ugly American politics had become. He just couldn't accept it. In many ways, this always had been the president's greatest political weakness. His confidence in our democracy prevented him from doing more to stand firm against the destructive forces that were shaping our country during 2 terms in office. Obama's election in 2008 was supposed to signify that our country was finally moving in the right direction. A country born with slavery had elected an African American to be president. As president, Obama never let go of this hope. That was what made him so endearing to millions of Americans and shaped much of what he did in the Oval Office. Obama had clearly articulated his understanding of the nation when he came into the spotlight during the Democratic night. He was just too good for this world. That was the problem with Barack Obama. He was just, I mean, can this guy hear himself? Can he hear himself? This is the guy who, used the IRS to shut up his opponents, who used the Justice Department to make sure that none of his people got indicted for the obviously illegal things they were doing, including Hillary Clinton. I mean, he was just too good for this world. This is the other thing. I remember not that long ago, Jill Abramson, who had been the editor of the New York Times, saying the New York Times plays it straight. We're not on the left, we're not on the right. And I just thought, does she not know? I mean, she's dealing with the Democrat Pravda. Does she actually not know? So here, this is our guy, Joseph Curl at the Daily Wire, writes this. He says, in his last column for the New York Times, public editor Arthur Brisbane said that liberalism virtually bleeds through the fabric of the Times, adding that reporters approach some liberal issues, such as gay marriage and the Occupy movement, more like causes than news subjects. But Jill Abramson, then the Times executive editor, said not so. In our newsroom, we are always conscious that the way we view an issue in New York is not necessarily the way it is viewed in the rest of the country or the world, she said. Of course, says our guy, you know that's a crock. The once great paper is heavily skewed to the left, giving Democrats a pass on everything while hammering away at conservatives and Republicans. That liberal bias in the age of President Trump has prompted some journalists, as veteran reporter Bob Woodward said, to become emotionally unhinged. That includes Jill Abramson. This is what she says. This is Jill Abramson talking to The Guardian. I'm sorry, writing in The Guardian. It's easy to look at what's happening in Washington, D.C. and despair. That's why I carry a little plastic Obama doll in my purse. I pull him out every now and then to remind myself that the United States had a progressive African-American president until very recently. Some people find this strange, but you have to take comfort where you can find it in Donald Trump's America. Now, to be honest, I carry a Barack Obama doll too, but I also have some pins to stick in it. So I think that's a little different. But the former executive editor of the New York Times is carrying around a little Barack Obama comfort doll so she can get through the horrible things that are going on. One of the horrible things is the Koreans have announced that North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, wants to sit down with the president and discuss denuclearizing the Korean peninsula, not just North Korea, but the whole peninsula. And Trump has said, yes, he'll do it.